Welcome back to Real Cast Fishing. Your host, Glenn, with the City Rather Fishing Field Team, is COAF Field Team on YouTube. And this round, what we got for you? Well, this is more of an impromptu one, fishing ramblings, where I just kind of ramble about fishing, give you some updates on some things that, yours truly have been doing these last few days, if not a couple of weeks here. And in this case, I've been doing some mobile fishing live streams where I'm getting a lot of engagement with some of the viewers here. Bear with me. Some of the viewers here where I'm going out with different gear, bait finesse, ultralight bait casting, additionally some fishing flies or fly fishing, and I'm just kind of walking through the different things that I'm doing, detailing it out, because at the same time that I'm posting on video, I'm actually recording it and getting ready to post it on an audio podcast. All right, looks like Xfinity is on. Hello, Xfinity. Howdy, howdy. Just doing some fishing ramblings, giving you an update on some of the things that I've been doing, specifically those mobile fishing live streams. So this is more about fishing ramblings, fishing, talking, and whatnot. And, let me give you a rundown on some of the things that have been happening recently. I started out with a mobile fishing live stream, I think about a week or two ago, and it was looking at using a crappie jig, ultralight crappie jig, where I'm using some bait finesse, ultralight bait casting gear, and I went with the Flight Feather ultralight bait caster. It's the Kingfisher. It's able to cast 1 gram trout magnets, but in this case I went with a crappie jig that weighed about, I'd say about maybe 1.8, maybe 2 grams. And the big thing there was, one, that 2-pound test is very tough. I had one on and he broke off as I was trying to lift it up, and I shouldn't have lifted it up. I was trying to bank him, and then right at the tail end when I went to hold the line, he kind of did that little wiggle and boom, he got off and actually took my crappie jig. That was a good trip though, because I made some adjustments, went to the inline Mepps Anglia inline spinner, got a couple of bass there. I actually had to switch over to another bait caster, the Casking Zephyr BFS reel. And that one had some 6-pound test line and did well with that one. Had some hits there and whatnot, and actually landed a couple, so that was good. Carter Short. Hi, Carter Short. Glad you joined us tonight. Just mainly giving some fishing ramblings and just talking things in general. Daniel Henceforth. All right, Justin Blake. Hi, how's it going? Bait your my bait FBI bot. Okay, I don't know what that means. Anyhow, so some of the other things that I've done after that mobile fishing live stream, I switched over to the Ned rig, and in particular, it's the Z-Man Ned rig that I find has been, one, you fish it like a Senko, where the fish will pick up and run with it. Let's see, Crescinda Collins. Hi, how's it going? And what I find is similar to fishing a Senko is you let the fish run with it before you set the hook. And in this case, with that Z-Man Ned rig, it weighs, I'd say about 1/16 ounce, and I was extremely happy with that, as well as the durability of it's called a TRD grub or worm. And it's plastic, but it's just different kind of plastic. It's kind of, very, very stretchy. Let's see, Judd, serious question, English or Spanish? English? Okay. I'm going to need this here. Yeah, I got several fishing licenses here in the state of Texas, as well as Oklahoma. And pretty much everywhere I go, I get one. Anyways, let's see. Other things with the Ned rig, that was the ultralight bait casting ultralight bait casting BFS reel 6-pound test. That went well with the Ned rig. Then later on, I switched to, again, this was a Shimano Scorpion BFS XG that did really well. And I was using the do-it-yourself inline spinner. So I made this one on the fly using a 1/16 inch worm sinker to act as the body. And then I just added a simple bait hook. And then I attached a Euratackle bait finesse worm or grub, the 2-inch bass assassin. And what I like about that one is there is, I guess where it's made, it's got these little I guess, I don't know, sections or whatnot that it does undulate really nicely. Very, very good action for the fish. And in this case, I was doing good with it with some bass, some bluegill at one of the ponds. But what ended up happening was I had there were a bunch of fish, and I suspect they were bluegill and bass that were just hitting on top. And I had just put up the fly rod and switched over to a center pin reel to put in the little pickup of mine, and I should have brought the fly rod. Okay, let's see. Next thing after that trip, went ahead and went with the fly rod. Now we just did this one impromptu. Just took the 5-weight fly rod that I have and just threw on a reel that I had nearby, and I think it was the 2-3 weight Echo Ion fly reel. I had a 175 grain OPST commando head, and if you're not aware of the commando head, it looks like it's basically a shooting head, weight forward fly or section of line that allows you to cast very well, even in some clobbered areas, so that you can do some one-handed spay casting without having to worry about your back cast. Let's see, Detective Spicy. Seemed like a nice bloke. We cool blokes have to stick together. As an Irishman, I should know. All right, cool. Detective Spicy. Nice. Cool. Let's see. The other thing that I've got prepped is, let's see, I did do another fly fishing, mobile fishing live stream, but unfortunately I only caught a little bass and a little bluegill. It was pretty brutal. It was over there by the Pin Stack, I guess, entertainment area just off of the highway, and there was a lot of noise with the road noise. But unfortunately the gear that I was using, or at least the lav mic, was able to stop things from really clobbering the video, or at least the audio. So that worked out well. I did prep another do-it-yourself inline spinner, and this one weighs 1.8 grams. So I took the 1/16 worm sinker off and just went with the Panther Martin blade, and I'm going to try using that here in the next mobile fishing live stream. What's different about this one is I'm going back to the Flight Feather Kingfisher with a 2-pound test line, so I got to play it by ear. And I'm going to try this inline spinner. I mounted it on a Daiwa mini cast ultralight rod, one that I picked up years ago. It's a 4-piece one that works really well. And I'm going to see how that one does. I suspect that if I can, find an area that has not too much greenery clobbering the area, I think it'll be pretty good. So stay tuned for that one. All right. Other things, I am prepping to see if I can make a run down to or up to Denison Dam, up the road here off of Highway 75 to Denison Dam, which is a tail race to Texoma. And I'm hoping that I can catch it just right to see if I can get some striped bass. One thing that I do suggest is before you go to a particular tail race, usually here, if it's a Corps of Engineer lake, typically they will post, be it the Power Authority, here it's the Southwest Power Authority, that will post the schedule as well as the real-time hydropower release information. And in there, it'll give you some real-time information, maybe delayed about 15 minutes or so, but enough to give you an idea at least what the pattern is for when they are generating power, as well as when they are releasing water through the gates. And what's key about that is you fish it differently. When you're fishing a particular tail race, sometimes when they are releasing water, generating power and whatnot, you'll have a lot more water flow. And what you need to do then is adjust to that and fish that type of situation. So typically you'll be using maybe some top water lures, maybe some floating jig rigs and whatnot. But you should be able to adjust. And if they shut the power down, or if it's in between generation schedules, it works pretty good to go out there and kind of let the water trail down, or at least drop down, water level drop down, and you should be able to fish different pools and whatnot. All right. Other things. I am also standing by to make that run over to the local lake and do some more kayak fishing. May do some more jug lining, as well as possibly doing some more of those sabiki rig trolling with some slab and jig rigs. And the key thing about the sabiki rig style, when you are setting up a slab and jig rig, is the main purpose of doing so is when you, let's say, snag bottom, or if you have whatever situation that you snag, you're able to break off the line and only break off the piece. In this case, maybe the crappie jig, or maybe just a slab, and you'll still be able to recover the rest of your rig. In this case, the slab or the various deals. Let's see other things. Let's see. Okay. There's a couple of things that I am also prepping for. Again, I mentioned Denison Dam. The other thing is may try making another run up to Oklahoma for doing some more kayak fishing, because there's a particular lake that is stocked with a variant of the, or at least a combination of the walleye and sauger. It's called a sagai, and they say that is a very good tasting fish. And my fishing buddy had caught one a couple of years ago, if not last year, and it wasn't the size limit that we could keep it, but it was pretty interesting being able to see it, catch one, at least know the area. Let's see. Other things. Let's see. We are making preps for our run to the Galveston coast, where we'll do some more fishing, possibly for some salt water, be it any species that's biting, but typically we're going for some sharks, bull reds, redfish, black drum, and whatever else is biting. So do check back on that one. We'll make that run probably next month, and that was always a good trip. Let's see other things. Okay. Again, also we always keep in our back pocket if you get the urge to do some trout fishing from rainbow trout or brown trout. We always keep in our back pocket the Lower Illinois River, as well as the Beaver's Bend or Broken Bow, Lower Mountain Fork, also known as Broken Bow, near the town of Broken Bow, also in the Beaver's Bend State Park up in Oklahoma. Those are year-round trout fisheries that we're able to do some pretty good there. Other things, once we make that run to the coast, we may be looking for some other opportunities, maybe another run to the coast for maybe doing some more crabbing and whatnot for some of the blue crab over there in the Rockport area, Copano Bay. That's always a good run. I'm not sure if we're going to make it this year, but we'll see what the opportunity gives us. Let's see what else. Let's see. Okay, so with that mobile fishing live stream, there was one question that came up as to the means to, or what rig I'm using to do those mobile fishing live streams. I'm streaming from my phone. I added a live mic to it, and I've got a harness that goes around my neck that sits there, and it gives a pretty good visual of what's happening. Stay tuned. I got a video out there that I'll be posting here in the next few days that should give you more detail on it. The key thing there is when you are using your phone and you're putting it on a harness, I suggest that you make sure that you use one of those phone holders that you can screw down and tighten. A lot of times if you use the ones that's just spring loaded, well, not as secure. So do keep that in mind if you plan on starting one up. The other thing is while you are out there fishing, I did try doing some GoPro, or I did do some live streaming from my GoPro to my phone. That did well. I like the visual quality, as well as I like the way I can save that video. So if the live stream cuts off, I'm able to save that video and repost it later. But unfortunately, not been able to get that vertical format that I believe you get more engagement if you use a vertical format compared to the horizontal or landscape format. So keep that in back pocket. If you got a GoPro and you want to do some live streaming, until they make that software change, possibly get you that vertical format, I'd say stream from your phone, just get a good lav mic, something to connect to your phone to get some good audio, because again, the audio is key when it comes to video. You can have some kind of not so great video, but if your audio is good, people will stay on and see what's happening. All right. Okay. The other thing about these mobile fishing live streams that I really like is how folks join in and they stay on and they may be asking questions and whatnot, and throw out some questions, comments, and whatnot. I'm able to answer them. See, okay, now we can talk now. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Xfinity, but if you have a question, go ahead and throw it out there, and maybe I might be able to answer it. The other thing is when I'm doing one of these live streams, I'm also going to save this one and send this out to the podcast, the Real Cast Fishing podcast. That's just straight audio. But what I'm doing now is, what I'll do is I'll post on YouTube, do a video podcast, and then I'll take that audio and post it again as a podcast. Because a lot of times I've noticed some folks while they're driving into work, let's say, or telecommuting or commuting, you can't watch the video, but you can listen in. And sometimes it's on Spotify, it's on iHeartRadio, it's on these different platforms. Real Cast Fishing is the podcast. I've got several things in there with the Fishing Ramblings episodes, as well as the mobile fishing ones now. And then, well, I've got the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing one to prep for. Should be getting that one out here in the next few weeks, or if not few days. And this is the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing, where I go through 5 tips at a time. We're on number 106 at the time, so we've gotten through a bunch of them so far. So, and there's some good tips in there. So what I do is I just read right out of the book. After I read the book, maybe make some comments. Some folks will also even make some comments about that particular tip, and then move on to the next item. And then once we're done with that, we'll just go right into some Q&A in case anyone has any comments, questions, and whatnot. Can you give me fly fishing tips? Okay. Sheridan Dan. Okay, Sheridan Dan. Okay. What in particular are you looking for from a fly fishing standpoint? I guess let's start out with, what are you fishing for? I really recommend mouse tails. This is from Xfinity. It's a full recommended garlic scent. We caught 42 trout in 8 hours. Public lake, definitely illegal. I've used mouse tails. Those are really good. Lower Illinois River tends to do well using mouse tails, as well as the power worms. Those work well too under a strike indicator. Or if you're ultralight spinning, just put it under bubble float. My fishing partner likes to use them as well. Mosquito hooks on the mouse tail. Okay. But going back to Sheridan Dan, what are you fishing for? Let's start there and see where it takes us. And I'll wait for your comment, and we'll go from there. And then from a fly fishing standpoint, maybe I'll give you just a rundown as to the gear that I use, at least when I first started. Actually, no, I'll start with, there was a question several years ago where someone asked for, what is a good beginner setup for fly fishing? And I tend to the 5 weight for some reason, but I I did ask the question, and it was, what were you planning on fishing for? Because that's really the key. If you're fishing, inland, freshwater ponds, lakes, and whatnot for freshwater fish, it's a little bit different than what you'd be fishing for on the coast, be it the east or west coast or over here in the Gulf. So you got to play by ear. So that's the first question I'd ask is from a fly fishing standpoint. But from this last live stream, there were 2 tips. Actually, I'm going to post some YouTube Shorts tips on them that talk about how you hold your rod and where you hold the line so that you are ready to set the hook. It's pretty much making sure that you have the line underneath your pointing finger as you're holding the rod so that you're able to squeeze tightly on it and then set the hook. Because a lot of times you'll see folks fishing, and they'll have the rod like so, and they'll have the line further out from them, okay? And the line will be free, and just because of that, you'll lose just that, well, I guess some slack in the line as well as the reaction time to set the hook. And sometimes you'll miss a lot of times you'll miss a fish that way. Let's see, generic YouTube user. I don't have the little translation thing on there, so I can't tell what you just sent. I'm sorry. All right. Okay. Mason89. Hey, man, I'm 14 and I love fishing. I was wondering if you could tell me like the best time of day to go fishing for catfish and bass. Okay. Best time for catfish and bass. I can tell you locally. Let's say here, I tend, especially this time of year with the heat, we got 100 degrees plus today, or if not 100 degrees. I would tend for catfish and bass to fish early morning as well as later evening. That tends to be better. If I'm fishing for catfish, especially jug lining, I'll fish it throughout the day. It goes back to just go fish when you can. A lot of times, especially as you get tied up with your day job and whatnot, you tend to be able to fish those times that you're able to versus targeting a specific time. But if you had to target a time, I'd start with early morning initially for catfish and bass. Just at first light, if not 30 minutes before sunrise. That tends to work well in the summer pattern. So you don't really want to go in the middle of the day. Go early morning or later evening. If you do go in the middle of the day, do target some of those shadowy areas, some shaded areas where the bass may be tending, and you may have a good opportunity there. But let's say if I was hitting the lake right now, I'd probably be getting first light. Put the kayak in the pickup, throw in some jug lines, and just head out and then go for some catfish. As well as if I was going to hit a pond and whatnot, a local pond, I'd be going early morning. If not, then right now it gets dark in our area here about 9 Central. So I would probably go about 7 o'clock just to get there early and fish it till it gets past dark and see what bites. And then even then, especially this time of year, I may even put on a surface popper, surface lure, one that gives a lot of action and noise, and even fish in the night. All right. Hope that helps. Let's see. Fair enough, dude. Keep up the good work. Okay. Thanks, generic YouTube user. All right, and thanks for joining. This is the Fishing Ramblings episode, so I don't have any format and whatnot. I just mainly open it up for any questions, comments, and again, a focus on fishing related questions and comments. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that folks will join in and just throw out a whole bunch of junk, and I just ignore them until it gets to a fishing question. So bear with me. If I'm not answering your question because it's not fishing related, it's because, well, I'm skipping it. All right. Okay, Mason89, thank you for the tips, dropping a sub. All right, thanks for joining. Eyes, you salmon fish. Not here on the Gulf Coast. I'm here in Texas, so no salmon. I have fished for salmon in the past, mainly when I was over there in the Monterey area, California, as well as made a couple of trips over there to the Northwest, specifically the Washington, Vancouver area. Yeah, and it's fun. All right. What else? You guys had any other questions? Hey, while we're here, hey, it's still early enough. Bear with me. I'm going to go grab me some brewskis. Okay, got me a little Ranger Voodoo IPA. Let's see if I can get it open. Ooh, shoot. I gotta go get a dealie. Let's see. You should fish Idaho. Oh, yeah. Shoot. Let's see, you should fish Idaho. When I think of Idaho, I keep thinking of hunting. And for some reason, I definitely like to, back in the day, do a lot of hunting when I was a little bit younger. All right, fish Oregon. I've not fished Oregon. I do know some folks that have that lived in Oregon, and they mentioned the fishing's pretty good. Also, I think in Oregon, I do remember a buddy of mine mentioning a particular brewski up there, Henny Weinhard's. That one actually tastes pretty good. I've had that one. I think it's an Oregon brew. Anyhow, yeah, I'd fish Oregon. I'd hunt Oregon. I knew a individual that lived in Oregon that did a lot of hunting elk and whatnot and deer. So good stuff there. So, hey, outdoorsy stuff. I'm all for it. Anyhow, any other items y'all want to bring up? I'm just looking at my notes here. Some of the upcoming things that I want to throw at you. I do have that mobile fishing live stream that I'm planning on doing, the do-it-yourself inline spinner, where I'm using a 1.8 gram spinner. I think I posted some information on some of the gear that I'm using. Any streamer recommendations for Denison Dam? Okay, Denison Dam. That's a little bit, from a fly fishing standpoint, your Clouser minnow is like a go-to one in, day out. But there is a particular fly that I picked up at the Green River Outfitters over there in Green, Texas. Actually, it's been annexed by New Braunfels over there by the Guadalupe, and they make a particular fly that let's see, it's pretty beat up now. I wonder if I still have it available. Let's see. Bear with me. Let me check. Okay, bear with me. I found it. Okay, right here. This is my streamer rig for striped bass. Okay, and I'll just step through there. And there is a particular one that I have done really well at Denison Dam. All right, it's really beat up, but there it is. Okay. And I picked this up back at Green River Outfitters. It's really beat up. It's missing an eye. So there's an eye on one side right here. It's got an olive type. It's got deer hair. It's got a backing. It's not, it's tinsel. And then it's got some crystal flash. And I would say it's maybe a size 1 stainless. And this is one that has done really well for me for some reason over there at Denison. So that one has done well. I only have one left. And I would definitely get another one once I get back down the green. If not, I'd probably try making one. So here, for those that can replicate things with just a video or a picture, I'm going to go ahead and lift it up here and show you. Okay. There it is. So it looks like it's got some white deer here. It's got an off-color one, some kind of tinsel for the backing, and then a crystal flash, and then it's got an eye right there. And this one, I guess it simulates a shad and whatnot. Can you teach how to fish Denison Dam, please? I got several videos that talk of it. So I'm not sure if I can teach it, but I think I have some good videos out there that you may be able to see and maybe glean some things there. But bottom line, when you are fishing it, especially fly fishing wise, it's pretty much just playing it by ear and fishing, be it the times between when they're generating and not. How much to hire you? I don't guide. I look at it as then it becomes a job, and then it's not fun anymore. You know what I mean? Okay, but speaking of Denison, this is the other one I like using. Just your straight Clouser minnow. I made some videos on how to make the Clouser minnow. The sparser you make it, it tends to seem to, the fish tend to like it better. There is one that I picked up that I saw some old timers out on the Denison Dam. That was back when there was a Six Old Geezers site that gave a lot of information about Denison Dam and fishing the Red River area. Unfortunately, a lot of I don't think it's in existence anymore because some of those guys have since passed. But one thing that I remember seeing was, I call it the Denison Dam Dauber. All right. This is another variant of I don't even know what it is, but it works for white bass and whatnot. And also works for those striped bass. And then you can also take bear with me. I gotta grab something real quick here. Okay. There is another one that I'll make. It's a Clouser minnow, but made with craft fur. Okay. And that one tends to do well. The main thing about when you're fishing these is adjust your retrieve. Sometimes they want it fast. Sometimes they want it to sink. I think I have one where I'm using a spay rod or a switch rod, and I am fishing a particular location for stripers, and I'm using various flies to include this one, which is made out of craft fur. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll either let it sink, give it a countdown retrieve. Other times it'll be a fast retrieve. Just kind of play it by ear. Watch for the bass or the striped bass and their reaction to it. Can I catch stripers? And yes, you can. Just got to play it by ear. It's bear with me. Okay. Really, it's two ways of fishing Denison Dam. When they are generating the water or power or releasing water through the gates and whatnot, then you're going to be fishing more of a stronger current and whatnot. And if you don't have the right amount of right gear, you may find yourself outgunned. Some of the key things there is when you first show up, look at all the old school, old timer guys that have been fishing that location forever. And you will see a lot of times they're using these really nice, thin-handled surf casting gear that can cost upwards of hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, or thousands. I mean, there's some expensive stuff out there. And what you'll notice is the gear that they're using allows them to, one, cast far. Two, they're able to work the current and try different lures and whatnot. And they aren't fishing the bottom. And they're quickly able to switch depending on the conditions to fish the upper water part of the water column, if not shift over to the lower part of the water column. So do take a look at that. If you you are fishing in between generation schedules or when they aren't, when the water flow is died down, take advantage of that and get you some polarized glasses, and look and do some sight casting. You'll see a lot of times carp, buffalo, striped bass, white bass, some shad going about. I think there's even this shad-like skipjack-looking thing that goes through there that the fish like to eat, and then there's catfish and gar as well. And with just keeping a visual sight casting in these different pools and whatnot, you'll be surprised what you'll be able to catch there. Be it if you're using fly fishing gear, if not going straight traditional fishing and whatnot. Additionally, a lot of times you can use bait and whatnot, and that works well. Shad seems to be the key. There was one year we picked up some bluegill, some little sunfish, like little 3-inch bluegill sunfish, and we fished that at night, and that was pretty good. Can I catch on a 3-weight? It'd be tough with a 3-weight. 5-weight's kind of light too. Once you get one of those big guys, yeah, I would stray away from a 3-weight unless you just want to play with some of the smaller size ones. All right. And for those that are just joining, this is the Fishing Ramblings episode, part of the Real Cast Fishing podcast, where it's pretty much an open forum at this time, seeing if anyone has any questions and whatnot. 8-weight good. 8-weight works. Have not had any issues there. Ever fished for steelhead? No, I've not. When I was in California, as well as in those northwestern states, I did see some other folks do, but no, I've never fished for steelhead. But I'd be willing to try. All right. Okay. What else y'all got? Got an open forum here. I am prepping for the next podcast. Is going to be Little Red Book of Fly Fishing, going back to tips 106, and we'll go to 106 to I think 110. Let you know what's going there. I am excited about these mobile fishing live streams. What's really nice about that is I can fish, and at the same time I can answer questions, make comments, and whatnot. Sometimes you don't get any. Sometimes you do. It's all live, so it gets brutal. Sometimes, it's not all fancy. It's what you get sometimes, because fishing is not catching. It's fishing. So, okay. Sometimes you catch some, sometimes you don't. But that said, if I do have enough video, I will follow up with an edited follow-up version. So there's like a couple of ones I'll be posting here shortly. I've already posted a couple where it's the edited version. And that's the one you want to take a look at if you're not having the opportunity to check it out, or to check out the live stream, because that one just skips over all the, I guess, the slow stuff and gets you the action items as well as some of the key things that I want to bring up. Excel. Ever fish for steelhead? Any saltwater flies? Yes, I've done some saltwater fly fishing, mainly on the coast over here in Texas, way back when. Real crazy kid. Hello, howdy. Can you help catch fish? Help. I don't know what that means. Can you help catch fish, please? And then can you honk Tua? No, there's someone else who does that. And then Mike. Mike's going back to Bentley, see if he's of a different persuasion. Anyhow, that's non-fishing, so we'll skip that. Anyhow, what else you have fishing-wise? You guys can comment all you want. Just, hey, it gets moderated from YouTube, so be careful there. And then on top of it, do stick to fishing. That's really, really pretty cool. So our good spots in St. Joe, Florida. No, I throw it out there. Anyone know about St. Joe, Florida? I do know St. Joseph Island over here at Port Aransas. That's a really good place to go try if you get the opportunity. Looks like Mike and Bentley are going back and forth, so let's let Mike and Bentley have fun. And we'll shift back again to fishing. All right, so what do you guys have fishing-wise? Or, hey, you want to talk beer? This is the Voodoo Ranger. Why do I like the Voodoo Ranger? IPA because it has a 9.5% alcohol content. Well, let me verify that. Oh, yeah, it's in there. Oh, my bad, 9%. Okay, are there spots in St. Joe, Florida? Okay. Anyone out there can answer that one, please do so. Kamchatka, Russia. Not sure about Russia. Spinnerbait. Yes, I like spinnerbaits. I've used those in the past. I kind of been shifting over to ultralight bait casting. Why? Well, my thumb can cast a bait caster, traditional bait caster, no problem. But with an ultralight, it gives you a little bit more, I guess, challenge to make sure that you can keep it from over or backlashing on you. Plus, and I would have to, say this time in, time out, is you can fish a location that is heavily pressured. And if you use traditional size lures, I notice that heavily pressured areas, you don't get as many bites because they're so used to seeing those baits. You shift over to an ultralight gear, these smaller sized lures, be surprised what'll strike. I mean, I've gotten to places where it's been clobbered. There's tons of people fishing it throughout the day in, day out, and guess what? I'm able to do much better than a lot of folks there fishing, mainly because I went to that ultralight. And I believe that smaller sized lure is enough to, one, entice them, plus it's different, and it doesn't look like the normal fare that's been presented to them. Maybe they just got used to it. I don't know. But give it a try. Go with some ultralight and see what happens. I mean, if you don't have an ultralight bait caster, just go with a spinning gear and see what happens. You'll be surprised what'll hit a 1/16 ounce rooster tail. Fish it slow, they'll hit it, or something will hit it. And then inline spinner, Mepps Anglia, that's always been a good one. And then, of course, I do this do-it-yourself inline spinner thing that I really like. Here, let me put this on a holder here, and I'll go grab it real quick and explain what I've been doing with it. Okay, just bear with me. I just got to shift some stuff over real quick, and let me go grab this thing that I've been using for making my DIY inline spinners. Okay, here it is. Right here. Okay, so my significant other gave me this a couple of weeks ago. This Cobalt mini tool deal. All right. It's got these two drawers, and I really haven't put anything in it, but what I like about it is it's got this top deal right here. And I put a little wood deal in there and screwed this Twist Tech wire forming tool. I don't think it's available anymore, or they may be out of stock. Right here, Twist Tech. It sits right on top, and it's pretty steady with this box. And from here, I'm able to make these DIY inline spinners. Okay, I can make them fairly quickly, and I can adjust as need be. Sometimes I feel like putting a different size worm sinker, maybe a different body and whatnot. A lot of times I'm just, hey, let me try something real quick and just put it together and just head out the door right here. All right, so I've been pretty happy with that one. In fact, let me go grab some of those lures that I've made with them recently. And of course, you don't have to have a wire forming tool. You can make one with just some pliers and whatnot. There's a bunch of videos out there on there, but I got that years ago. I don't know why I bought it, just kept it. And over the years, eventually it comes through, and here I am using it now. Okay, so excuse me, one mobile fishing live stream that I posted where I was fishing this pond behind the In-N-Out Burger. All right, and here it is. Okay, so it's got a Panther Martin style blade, and what I like about the Panther Martin blade is it rotates readily at a slow retrieve. Plus, I don't have to add that extra hardware, the clevis. That will go on the shaft that you'll connect your traditional blades on. Instead, I can just put it directly on the shaft, and it's no problem. It'll spin, and it's just one less extra gear. I'll put a bead in here just to help it spin and keep it away from the other gear. There's a little worm sinker, just like you would use for Carolina rig or Texas rig worm. And then here I just attached a simple size 6 bait holder hook, and then I got that Bait Assassin, Eurotackle Bait Assassin. I hear 2-inch, and this one, those little ribbing and whatnot, they definitely undulate, make it look really lively when you are fishing it. I've been very happy with this one. So I just made another one. This is the one that I'm going to do for this next mobile fishing live stream, where I took the worm sinker off and I just left everything else and cut the shaft down. That one comes out at 1.8 grams. I'm going to try it on that Flight Feather Kingfisher using 2-pound line. I know, 2-pound line, that's going to be pretty rough when it comes to getting a big bruiser and whatnot, but I'm going to play by ear and see what happens. Okay. So picture this just without the worm sinker and a smaller shaft at 1.8 grams. And I'll be trying that next mobile fishing live stream. So stay tuned for that. However, right here is one of the first ones I made. This style here, it's got a gold, again, Panther Martin blade, so I don't have to mess with the clevis. And this one has a black worm sinker, copper bead, and a simple treble hook here. All right, so I made some adjustments with the treble hook. I started out with a smaller size, I think it was a size 10 treble hook, and that was not as good. I noticed for this, it's a size 6, possibly a size 4 is better, okay? And I've done well with this one as well. Again, here is the Eurotackle Bait Assassin. I do like them. Here is the dealie right there, 2-inch Fat Assassin from Eurotackle. And I forgot where I got this. I think it was a gift or something that was part of one of those magic or something tool gift boxes or whatever that you get. And I've been happy with it. All right. Let's see. Mike says he's going to go fishing next weekend. All right, Mike. Good luck there with the fishing trip. All right, any other questions? We're just talking ultralight bait casting. Just talked briefly about the Twist Tech wire former tool that I am using to make these do-it-yourself inline spinners. I do have some fly fishing plans as well here in the next few outings. I'll probably do like an on-the-fly pattern, tie it, and just head right out and see if I can catch something with it. I call them the quick tie fly fishing trips, where just on a whim, I'll just decide to go ahead and tie a different pattern and see if that will actually, well, entice something to strike, because, hey, I got a bunch of gear, and, you might as well go through them and see what you can do with catching a fish or two. All right. Okay, so those that just joined, earlier I talked about the mobile fishing live stream where I took out a crappie jig, and I had some issues with 2-pound test line. Then I switched over to another trip where I used a Z-Man Ned rig. The great thing about the Z-Man Ned rig that I would highly recommend, if not suggest, is whatever plastic they use, it is very durable. I mean, you have to rip it off to get it off the hook. It sticks. It does not come off. And hey, if it does loosen up on you, just flip it the other way and, it'll still work. The one that I was using this last trip was the TRD pumpkin. I don't know what to call it. TRD something. But anyways, it worked. But that plastic that they use is definitely durable. I think I saw on the package, though, that to make sure that you do not store it with other plastics. I think there might be some interaction there that may cause it to deteriorate on you. So make sure you keep them separate from the others. All right. Let's see. DIY inline spinner. Just mentioned that. Did a couple of, or one trip earlier this past few weeks. I do have another one planned again with the more ultralight version of that DIY inline spinner. Fly fishing wise, I got a couple of tips that I'm going to be throwing out there from this last trip where I was catching a bunch of bluegill, pretty much using a fly rod. The first tip, look for that one. It's going to be talking about how you hold your rod and keep the line in on the handle so that you can set the hook. And then the other one is watching your line. In fact, let me go grab a fly rod. I think it's better visually to explain what I'm going to try showing you here in the next few. Okay, here it is. That's one of my micro fly rods that I made. Let me see if I can give you a visual of it. Okay. And this is the one that collapses. It telescopes, see? So, right here. I can put this in the back of my backpack, if not, my pocket, basically, and I can fish it. I kind of use this one on the like when I'm going to go do a little walk with the significant other at a particular trail in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. You may find me having this micro fly rod sitting there in my back pack, if not vest, that I carry, that I use to carry stuff. And if I see a particular location with some bluegill and bass, I'm able to do some fly fishing on the side. Hey, you gotta fish when you can. That's the best time to fish. Anyhow, this is the telescoping one that I made some modification to a pen rod. I put my own snake guides. And what I'm explaining here is when you are fishing it, okay, the tip I'm going to give you is you want to make sure when you are holding the line and getting ready to fish it, okay, you want to make sure you keep your finger right here where the line is up against the handle, because, let me see if I can, it's got a fly on there, a little midge on here real quick, bear with me. And the key here is just a few, just that extra, I don't know, distance or whatnot that you've made up because you've got your finger on the fly line makes a difference sometimes in your hook setting ability. All right. So a lot of times you'll see folks out there fishing and they'll hold their fly rod like so. So they got their hand on the rod and they got the line and it's way out here. And when it comes time to setting the hook, they pull back and they got all this slack in the line. Well, if you keep your line right on the underneath your finger like so, and you always have it ready, when you do get the strike, all you do is just squeeze tightly and you secure that line up against the reel handle, and now you're ready to set the hook. So I'll get that tip out there. And then the other one is just talking about watching your fly line. When you cast, a lot of times you'll have a harder time detecting a strike because for whatever reason, they're not hitting hard. You don't feel it. There's some slack in the line and whatnot. Well, watch your line instead. Okay. If you can see the end of your fly line to the leader transition, watch that fly line end and watch for any movement, be it a hesitation in the line, a pull, a jiggle, a jerk, doesn't matter. Watch for that and set the hook. Once you cannot see, if let's say you've cast it far enough, or it's not, or it's clobbered, and you're having a hard time seeing it, then look at the end of your fly line or your end of your rod tip right here, and that line as it sits in the water outside your and watch, you'll see it get pulled as well. So it'll be sitting there, let's say just dead drifting, if not slowly, you're moving it on the retrieve, and you see that little movement, set the hook. All right, because you're watching that section of fly line, because you cannot see all the way over there and you don't feel it. And of course, if you do feel something, go ahead and set the hook anyways. All right, because hook sets are free. And Curtis, or quoting Hank Patterson, if it jiggles, wiggles, hesitates, pulls, whatnot, set the hook. All right. Anyhow, that was what I have on that. And again, this is the one of the micro. I've got like 4 or 5 of them back there that I made right here. Okay. Yeah, right there. All right. There's one that made actually of wine corks, because hey, you gotta have a little wine or two, and you might as well keep the corks and make your fly rod handle with it. Anyhow, microfly fishing, that's always been fun. I've actually caught a pretty decent size catfish using this rod here, if not one of the other ones back there. I've got a 2-piece. I've got a telescoping one. I got this other one that I made out of an ice fishing rod. Just for some reason, I decided to make them. I think it was because I got the bug, and I went online to see how much a microfly reel would cost, or a combo, and it was like some crazy price, like $100, $200. And then I heard about the pen fishing rod, and I was like, hey, I'll just make one. So right here is the telescoping piece of a pen fishing rod. I've taken out the reel seat, and I just zip tied it in this case. There's another one that I have where I kept the reel seat. I just flipped it around, and I'm still using the reel seat and fishing it like normal. And having some fun there. And then for the butt section here, the butt pad, that's just a piece of a wine cork. All right, and then these, the guy went out of business. It was Go Fish Like Calm years back, and I bought several of these. And I think you can still get them, but you got to get them as a combo on, be it Amazon or I don't know, some other sites and whatnot. Right here. All right, but I think the next thing I do, I got a 3D printer back here, and I'll probably try making one just because. All right. Let's see, on the schedule, I do have in the queue that I want to try doing a mobile fishing live stream where I'm using hand lines. Okay, so I've got several hand lines that I made with PVC and some spool. Straight out of the, let's see, there's some quilting spool. There's some other like normal plastic spool thing that you get when you get some line for trout lines. They fit perfectly in the, I think it's the 1/2-inch PVC Schedule 40. It works perfect. I've actually caught some fish with that. And then I got one of those Yoyito hand lines. And then back here, you'll see a Cuban yo-yo right there. Hand line. And I picked that one up years ago when I was deployed somewhere, and I just wanted some fishing equipment because I didn't have a rod. All right. But anyways, I do have that on the schedule. I got this dough bait that I made that has done really well for catfish as well as for some little bluegill and whatnot. Actually even caught bass with it, which is surprising. I made a batch. This one, I made some adjustments from the original recipe to make it to where I could just make it in basically 4 minutes. And I've got the batch in the fridge right now. It's been there easily 2 weeks, and it's still ready to go. I can still use it. And what's nice is it's still malleable, so I can make a nice little dough bait ball and get it prepped for catfish, no problem. All right, let me put this back up real quick. All right, so we're just still talking and whatnot. Let's go back to that dough bait that I just mentioned. So here it is, right there. I made it. Ooh, sorry. Made it July 2. Ooh, still smells good. I got that vanilla extract in there, and it really smells good. I mean, I think I can make a biscuit out of this and eat it. Anyhow, you can see it's still malleable. I can make an easy bread ball with it. The main thing you want to look for is once it starts molding, well, at that time, make another batch. But right here, this one's ready to go for some hand line fishing. I still have that gelatin, DIY gelatin rig where I use some power bait fish scent here. And this one's good to go too, ready to be fished. But unfortunately, you don't want to use it in 100-degree temperatures because that thing will, well, it'll fall apart on you out there. So if you want to fish 100-degree temperatures with this gelatin thing, I would say adjust the recipe to where you're using less water, and it'll definitely become more rubbery. I'd say harder than a gummy bait or gummy bear. Probably more like a hot tamale or something. Anyhow, let me put this up real quick. All right, it's been about an hour plus. Holy cow. I think we're getting late here. What time is it? Oh, shoot. It's almost 11 o'clock. Holy cow. I got my day job to go to tomorrow. I don't know. You guys have any questions? Throw it in there. I'll watch for it. Other than that, we'll probably have to go shut down here shortly. Well, we can at least have a beer while we're having this. I see 6 folks on. You guys have anything to throw out at me? I definitely will answer them, hopefully. If not, well, we'll play it by ear. Okay. Let's see. There is one thing I'll probably do at some point tomorrow. My day job has a fairly nice-sized pond that, for some reason, they named it after me. It's called Lake Glen. It's in Arlington, Texas, and it's a private pond. And back in the day, about 2-3 years ago, there were some nice-sized bass in there. There's still some nice-sized bluegill. I suspect there's a bass or two lurking in there, but it got clobbered recently. But I did take out the water wolf camera, threw it out in the pond. And what's promising is there are a fair amount of fingerling bass out there. So I suspect that my lake may have a few bass or two still in there that I'm going to have to try. And typically when I come into my day job, I may be guilty of catching a fish or two right before work. So, hey. So sometimes you'll see in the channel's post where I've got a fish that I've caught, and in the distance you'll see a lake over there in the background. Well, that's because I caught it before I went to work. Okay. How many of y'all keep a fly rod, fishing rod, any rod in your car, pickup, or whatnot? Because, hey, when's the best time to go fishing? Whenever you can. Okay, yeah, I don't see anything coming in, so I think everybody's kind of done for now. But I appreciate y'all joining. Hopefully to do another one of these. I do have to do the Little Red Book of Fly Fishing podcast, get that out there so we can go through the next set of tips and see if there's anything that comes up. But bottom line, probably next time you see me is either going to be a YouTube Shorts. I did do a dad joke video that I think is extremely funny. Not getting much movement on it, but basically it's about golfing. And, well, check it out. I got it in there. It's the last thing I think I posted today. And then additionally, do look out for some YouTube Shorts. I've got a couple in the queue. The one about the fly rod and your finger. The other one about watching your line when you're fly fishing. I did answer the mail on... No. I put it on Amazon. But there is another one coming out here in the next couple of days. Someone asked on the last live stream about what I'm using for mobile fishing live streaming. And they wanted to do that themselves. And I keep it simple, especially since this vertical format apparently gets a lot more engagement than your landscape format. In fact, I see there's only 2 people here. Let me go grab it real quick while we got time. Okay, so I was answering the mail. They were asking, what do I use for my mobile fishing live stream? Well, right now I've got a Galaxy 22 S22 phone, and I connect one of these lav mics because audio is key. Okay, and I have an adapter for it. Okay, USB-C to 3.5 millimeter adapter to this lav mic. Okay, you can get the wireless versions and whatnot, but I find that when I get the wireless version, I tried it, is the phone cover, protective cover that I use is just too big or too thick to allow me to fully insert the lav mic, wireless lav mic connection or whatnot. But this works really well, okay? And I'll just mount it over here on my vest. And then I use one of these right there. Tellitson. Okay, it's a neck mount. And what I like about this is it comes loose pretty easy. Throw around the neck. And I was surprised how much... how secure it is. They're pretty stable. I mean, I can move around like crazy. I mean, here, look, still staying pretty good. All right. And on top of it, it does have a release where I can disengage it. Okay. And right here, it's magnet, and then it has a locking release, your typical GoPro mount here. And then what I strongly suggest is you get one of these guys right here, with the screw type phone holder. If you get the one with the spring, it's a little iffy. You hate to lose your phone to falling off and going to the lake because the little spring was not held in there good. I tend to like the mechanical screw deal here. And then just on top of it, you can also put a lanyard to your phone connected to the neck or to your vest, and just in case the phone falls off as well. Not had that problem. I did have a lanyard at first, but I've since just gone with the screw connection, and I've been really happy with it. Okay, but the key is, okay, you got this very simple. I could do this on the fly. I decide I'm driving on the commute home, and I'm like, hey, there's a pond, and hey, I got a fly rod or I got a fishing rod in my car. I got this baby right here. Throw it on, connect the lav mic, and I'm in business. This GoPro, or correction, the YouTube app where you can go ahead and stream directly has been a game changer. You don't have to do any other things to get it working. And then the key is, before I actually go live, I'll actually go to my built-in audio app or recorder on the Samsung in this case, voice recorder, and I'll do a quick check just to make sure that I don't have any static or if it's sounding good. If everything's good, then I'll go ahead and go on and go live. If it isn't, I'll make some adjustments. Sometimes it could be I may have to make some adjustments with the Wi-Fi connection, or I might be in a clobbered area where there's a lot of interference. So you got to play that by ear. But the key to all this is simplicity. Just get out there and go fishing. And what's nice about this also is the orientation of this, because it's so high up on my chest, around my neck. The orientation here is giving the same view that I'm seeing when I'm fishing is the same view that I'm streaming. So I've noticed I can talk, put things in front of the phone and still have visual of it, line of sight, and explain what I'm doing, and it's still in the field of view of the presentation or the video or whatnot. So I like that. And then at the same time, I have to check, look down, and I'll see that maybe a comment, a question, or whatnot. And I think that's like a two-way thing. So if you're sitting there fishing, you're doing a mobile fishing live stream, I strongly suggest keep that chat thing open and answer the mail. If someone asks a question, do speak up. You will get a lot of issues where there's some people just going back and forth or doing their own thing, just throwing stuff out. Just ignore them. If it's fishing related, answer them. If it's non-fishing related, just let it flow. You have a moderation piece in YouTube that will kick it out if it's really, really crazy. Like I've got a couple here telling me that they're held for review because I guess it was some craziness that not allowed. So, hey, let the algorithm do its thing and you do your thing. Okay, so that was, look for that video. I think I've got one prepped here for the next couple of days where it'll explain how I do this. All right. Okay. Yeah, it's getting late. All right. All for now. Appreciate y'all joining. It's been really fun. Next time, we'll catch y'all there. And good luck and good fishing.